In the digital age, we are surrounded by information. From news websites and social media to TV shows and podcasts, knowledge has never been more accessible. But with this flood of information comes a hidden danger: misinformation. Whether intentional or not, misinformation can manipulate our perceptions, shape our beliefs, and alter our decisions, often in ways we don't even realize. In this video, we'll explore the dangers of misinformation to the human mind. How does it spread? Why does it impact us so deeply? And what can we do to protect ourselves? Misinformation refers to false or misleading information that is spread, regardless of intent to deceive. It's important to distinguish misinformation from disinformation, which is intentionally deceptive, or propaganda, which is designed to influence opinion and behavior for a particular agenda. Misinformation can take many forms. 1. Fake news stories, fabricated articles or reports. 2. False statistics, numbers manipulated to mislead. 3. Misleading headlines, truthful stories presented with exaggerated or inaccurate titles. 4. Deepfakes and doctored media, manipulated images, videos or audio recordings that seem real. It's easy to see why misinformation spreads. It can be sensational, emotional, and often far more interesting than the truth. But it's not just about bad information online. Misinformation can impact our health, our democracy, and even our relationships. The stakes are higher than we realize. Misinformation spreads through various mechanisms, many of which are unique to our modern, hyper-connected world. One key driver is social media. With billions of people sharing content every second, the algorithms that drive these platforms are designed to prioritize engagement, likes, shares, and comments, not truth. Content that triggers strong emotions, whether fear, outrage, or shock, gets more engagement. As a result, misinformation that is sensational or divisive spreads rapidly, reaching millions in a matter of hours. Even well-meaning people eager to share something interesting or important can unknowingly contribute to its spread. But it's not just social media. News websites, blogs, and even traditional media outlets can fall victim to the rapid spread of misinformation. News organizations, driven by the pressure of being first rather than accurate, sometimes publish stories without fully verifying the facts. In an environment where speed is everything, misinformation can slip through the cracks. Take, for example, the spread of misinformation during the early days of the COVID-19 pandemic. Misleading claims about cures, preventative measures, and the virus's origins circulated widely. These falsehoods led people to make dangerous health decisions, spreading distrust in public health authorities and fueling panic. So why does misinformation affect us so deeply? The answer lies within our own minds. Our brains are wired in ways that make us vulnerable to false information. This is where cognitive biases come into play, mental shortcuts that help us process information but can also lead us astray. Let's explore some of the key biases at work. 1. Confirmation bias. We tend to favor information that confirms our pre-existing beliefs. When we encounter misinformation that aligns with our views, we're more likely to accept and share it without questioning. 2. Availability heuristic. This bias leads us to overestimate the importance of information that is easily available. If misinformation is repeated often enough, it becomes more familiar, and we may start to believe it's true, a phenomenon known as the illusory truth effect. 3. Emotional reasoning. Emotionally charged information is processed more deeply in our brains. Misinformation that triggers fear, anger, or outrage sticks with us longer and feels more significant. These biases make it difficult to distinguish between truth and falsehood. Misinformation doesn't just manipulate the facts, it manipulates how we process those facts. Over time, exposure to repeated falsehoods can lead to long-term distortions in our understanding of the world. The impact of misinformation on our psychological well-being cannot be underestimated. Consuming a constant stream of conflicting or misleading information leads to confusion, stress, and anxiety. This state of mental overload is sometimes called information fatigue. When we are bombarded with too much information, especially when we can't tell what's true, it becomes harder to make decisions, trust our instincts, or even engage with others in productive dialogue. Misinformation creates doubt, and doubt, when left unchecked, leads to cynicism. Worse, repeated exposure to misinformation can lead to alienation. People begin to mistrust not only the media, but also their communities and governments. This breakdown in trust erodes the very fabric of society, leaving people feeling isolated and disillusioned. There are also real-world consequences. Misinformation about health, for example, can lead people to forgo medical treatments or embrace dangerous alternatives. In politics, misinformation can undermine democratic processes, manipulate elections, and exacerbate polarization. In the most extreme cases, misinformation can lead to violence and unrest. It's not just a harmless mistake, it's a threat to both our mental health and our societal structures. So, how do we protect ourselves from the dangers of misinformation? It starts with awareness. Understanding the cognitive biases that make us vulnerable is the first step toward defending against them. Here are a few strategies. 1. Critical thinking. Before accepting or sharing information, ask yourself, is this source trustworthy? Does it cite reliable evidence? Are there multiple perspectives? 2. Fact-checking. Use fact-checking websites and tools to verify claims. Take the time to confirm whether a story is accurate before sharing it. 3. Diversify your news sources. Don't rely on just one platform or source for your information. Seek out different perspectives and be open to changing your mind if the evidence supports it. 4. Resist emotional manipulation. Misinformation often plays on our emotions. Be cautious when you encounter content that evokes strong feelings, especially fear or outrage. Misinformation may be everywhere, but we don't have to fall victim to it. By thinking critically, verifying facts, and being mindful of our own biases, we can protect our minds from its harmful effects. In an age of endless information, the truth can sometimes feel elusive. But together we can fight back against misinformation. It's not just about protecting ourselves, it's about building a more informed, connected, and resilient society. Each of us has the power to slow the spread of misinformation. By thinking before we share, questioning before we believe, and engaging in constructive conversations, we become part of the solution. The truth is out there, it's up to us to seek it.